Hi everyone, this is U.S. immigration lawyer Michael Ashoori, and in this video I want to show you guys the forms that go into a reentry permit application. So at my firm, we do a lot of reentry permit applications for our clients, and so I kind of thought this would be helpful to show you some of the forms that we prepare within the application. And with that said, let's get started. So the very first form and the most important form in the application is the form I-131. If you can see that right here, the form I-131. And the form I-131 is the application for a travel document, as you can see right there. And so let's go through this form a little bit. Okay, so this stuff, it's not really something that you need to focus on, but let's get started right here. So there's a space for your last name, your first name, and your physical address right here, your A number, country of birth, country of citizenship, class of admission, gender, date of birth, social security number if you have one. For reentry permit applications here, you see the application type. For a reentry permit application would be that I am a permanent resident or conditional resident of the US and I'm applying for a reentry permit. Again, assuming that that's what you're doing. What else do we have here? The date of intended departure, that's when you intend to leave the United States. And the expected length of your trip is how long you anticipate to be gone for. Important thing, one of the questions that I get asked all the time is, even if I put even if my trip is only going to be for 2 weeks, are they only going to give me a 2-week reentry permit? The answer is no. No matter what you put in that field, the reentry permit will either be issued for 2 years or for 1 year, depending on how much time you've spent outside of the United States within the last 5 years or since getting your permanent residence, whichever is less. So that's just a quick question that I get asked quite a bit. Now, there's another question here. Are you in exclusion, deportation, or removal or rescission proceedings? That's a question where it's going to depend on your particular circumstances. Have you ever been issued a reentry permit or a refugee travel document before? If you've been given a reentry permit before or a refugee travel document, you would say yes, and then you would put the date that that document was issued. And if it's still valid, you'd have to, in the disposition field, you'd have to specify what's the status is of that past travel document that you were issued. So moving on. Where do you want the travel document sent? You can have it sent to your U.S. address. You can have it sent to a consulate or an embassy abroad. If you're working with an attorney, you can have it sent to your attorney's office and your attorney can mail it to you. So those are just some different options over there. The purpose of your trip, that's something that's quite important. That's where you explain what the purpose is for why you're going to be leaving the United States. That's where you put your explanation. We craft that statement based on your reasoning. We help you to put that statement together at our firm, but that's what you do in that area. And then the countries you intend to visit is right here. That's where we put, if you're planning, what countries you plan to travel to. Now, since becoming a permanent resident of the United States or during the past 5 years, whichever is less, how much total time have you spent outside of the U.S.? Now, this answer is going to determine how long your reentry permit is valid for. If the answer is more than 4 years, then your reentry permit will only be valid for 1 year. If your answer is anything other than more than 4 years, if it's 3 to 4 years, 2 to 3 years, 1 to 2 years, 6 months to 1 year, or less than 6 months, then you are eligible for a 2-year reentry permit. Another question here is that It's regarding taxes. Since you've become a permanent resident of the United States, have you ever filed a federal income tax return as a non-resident or failed to file a federal income tax return because you considered yourself to be a non-resident? So that's a question pertaining to, your history of filing taxes. Yeah. Moving on. Okay, so this page, this section is only if you're applying for a refugee travel document, which doesn't apply to reentry permit applicants. And this part 7 says complete only if you're applying for advanced parole. Again, it's not applicable if you're applying for a reentry permit. So everything on this page is pretty much skipped. And then here's where you sign, signature of applicant. You put the date of the signature and the phone number. And if your attorney prepared this form for you, this is where they fill out their information right here. Okay, so that is the form I-131. A quick disclaimer that I want to make is that this video is not intended to specifically advise you how to fill out your form. This is just kind of going through the form. If you have any questions about how to fill out the form, you can contact me directly, and I'll give you information on how to contact me at the end of this video. But this video is more so just to kind of show you what the form looks like. It's not intended as any sort of explanation as to how to fill out the form. It's just kind of general information. But moving on, so that's the first document that we include in the application. Again, it's the form I-131. But that's not it. There's other forms that we include as well, and I'm going to go through those too. So the other form that we include is a G28. The G28 is also called the Notice of Entry of Appearance as Attorney or Accredited Representative. And basically, this is the form that an attorney needs signed by their client so that they can show USCIS that they have an attorney that's representing them. So this is basically the form that shows that you, as the client, are authorizing an attorney to submit an application on your behalf. So that's the G28. The attorney fills out this form, and then basically you sign it, and that's what this form is for. And lastly, one other form that I want to show you guys is the G1145. This is a form, it's absolutely not required, but this is a form that I submit for my clients, and I'll tell you why. So the G1145 is the e-notification of application petition acceptance. It's a very short form. All you do is you put the applicant's full last name, their full name, their middle name if they have one, and you put their email address and their mobile phone number. And basically what this form does is that once USCIS accepts the reentry permit application, they will send an email notification or a text notification to the applicant notifying them that they've accepted the application. And the benefit of this is that sometimes it'll take up to 2 weeks for the receipt notice to come in the mail. Once USCIS, accepts the application, it'll take, it could take up to 2 weeks from the time we file the application for the receipt notice to come in the mail to confirm that the application was received. What this form does, the G1145, is that it sends an electronic notification, like I mentioned. It sends either a text message or an email to the applicant well before the receipt notice would come in the mail. So the client or the applicant gets earlier notification that the application has been received and accepted. So those are the 3 forms that we include in the reentry permit application. We also include an attorney cover letter, and we include a number of exhibits, pieces of evidence, such as the green card and various other documents, passport photos, and some other stuff as well. But yeah, that's what we include in the application. If you guys have any questions whatsoever about reentry permits, about U.S. immigration, I'd like to invite you to contact me. I've put my contact information in the details below. I've also included a special link where you can click and schedule a free consultation with my office. So that's down in the description below. Now, one more thing. If you guys found this video helpful, if you found it beneficial to you, please go ahead and like the video and subscribe to our channel. That really helps us, and it also helps you to get notifications of other videos that we're posting. We're constantly putting out